Nani kama Kenya. That's a big headline on the front page of the Taifa Leo. Let's now come back and take a look at the local dailies. Yes, so Kenya may be the equivalent of about one. I think the closest we can come in terms of size is probably the state of California. Yeah, in terms of size. But in terms of medals, sisi ndio tunapeleka hawa. They only had 14 gold medals, America, but Kenya had 7. So hiyo na size yao yote walishindwa kupata mingi zaidi. Aoni aibu hapa ati Kenya iko second.
Amenunua.
Aibu hata wakuwe na aibu. Na Canada, which is even way bigger than us, wakawa na 3 peke yake. Hapa ndio watu tunasema tuna flex. And that's a focus on the front page of Taifa Leo. Nani kama Kenya? Vijana wa nyumbani wamaliza bora Afrika na nambari 2 duniani, huku wakivunia takriban shilingi milioni 100. Pale tuwataje majina. Faith Kipyegon anapata 12 million. Yeah? Beatrice Chebet, huyu alishinda races 2. Anapata 24 million. Emmanuel Wanyonyi 12 million. Lilian Odera 12 million. Peres Jepchirchir 12 million. Faith Jerotich 12 million. Faith Kipyegon anapata nyingine, unajua pale ashapata 12, hapa anapata nyingine 6.5 million.
Yes.
Dorcas Ewoi 6.5, alafu wale wa Shaba 3,000 meters, Edmond Serem 4 million, and 1,500 meters Reynold Cheruiyot 4 million shillings. Ukihesabu hiyo pesa yote kitita milioni kama 100 hivi.
Yes.
Sema maswali ya ubabe kwa mara nyingine. Nasema kwa mara nyingine tena Kenya imefanya ile maneno. Taifa hili lilitikisa dunia kwa kushika nafasi ya 2 nyuma ya Amerika katika riadha za dunia zilizomalizika jana jijini Tokyo, Japan. Hapa ndio tunasema yenyewe, congratulations team Kenya. Pesa ni zenyu, but the pride is ours.
Absolutely.
All right, tukisahau masuala ya pesa, na hii ile inasema jumla ya pesa ambazo Wakenya walituzwa kwa kushinda nishani au kwa kushiriki na kumaliza katika nafasi bora. Kenya iling'ara katika mbio za mita 800 wanaume na wanawake, 1,500, 3,000, 5,000 na 10,000 pamoja na marathon kwa wanawake. Na hii ni ile pesa wamepewa Japan. Wakija Kenya, rais anaongojea na kitita chake. Kama ulipata dhahabu milioni 3.
Yes.
Fedha milioni 2, shaba milioni 1.
Fedha ni silver, shaba ni bronze.
Watafanya wale Harambee Stars wasikie, kwani ile pesa haikutosha.
Actually, you know what happened? This 3 million, 2 million and 1 million came after President William Ruto's promise to Harambee Stars. So I think it was it Beatrice Chebet who asked the president now that he's doing that for Harambee Stars, then they should also increase their stipend up.
Beatrice Chebet ni kama alikuwa anajua Kenya anafanya. Kama amepata 24 million Japan, akuja apate 6 million hapa Kenya. Sababu amepata gold mara 2. Inafika 30 million. Clean. Kazi ya mwezi moja.
You know, it has actually increased from 750 million shillings to 3 million, from 500 to 2 million, and then I think from 350 to 1 million for dhahabu, fedha and shaba.
Anyway, as we say, pesa ni yenyu, pride ni yetu. Pale juu masuala ya siasa, tukitoka kwa masuala ya mbio, Muslim Brotherhood marufuku, Kenya yapiga marufuku kundi hilo pamoja na Hezbollah Tahrir, masuala ya usalama. Lakini kwenye siasa, UDA ateua waniaji Malava na Baringo. Ndakwa kuwania Malava, Chemitee akiwania useneta Baringo. Masuala ya siasa pale, habari kamili kwenye ukurasa wa 2. Gazeti la Taifa Leo.
Daily Nation, CS, ex-spy master and 10 billion shillings home owners in distress. Lakini wacha tu nianze na hii sports. Kenya completes historic gold sweep from 800 meters to marathon. And Kenyan track queens completed a remarkable sweep of the world titles, with their compatriot putting the icing on the cake by winning the men's 800 meters race. The women's. Hii hapa wamekosea. Ama men's walishinda ni mimi na waone.
Tulipata ile Emmanuel.
Oh yeah, Emmanuel Wanyonyi. Okay. 800 meters race to place Kenya second in the medal standings after the United States, the Global Athletics Championship that closed yesterday in Tokyo, Japan. Perez Jepchirchir, Beatrice Chebet, Faith Kipyegon, Faith Cherotich, Emmanuel Wanyonyi, and Lilian Odira. This story is on the back page of this newspaper, Kenya Rise Athletics History. Odira smashes 42-year-old championship record to emphatically claim women's 800 meters gold. We have 11 medals after USA, wako na 26 medals. CS, ex-spy master and 10 billion shillings home, again, honors in distress. Relief, buyers obtain interim court orders blocking the planned evictions. In 2014, Deliverance Church clerics informed the congregation during a service in Nairobi about a potential land investment. Prospective investors bought into the project, paid at least 2.5 million shillings for 8-acre plots, and built their dream houses on the land in Ruiru, Kiambu. But a decade later, they are staring at huge losses after a court ruled their title deeds are fraudulent since the land belongs to the family of former spy Chief James Kanyotu.
Sasa kama hata ukinunua shamba kupitia kwa kanisa inapotea, watu watanunua wapi?
This story is on page 2 and 3. Huyu CS ni nani? Ndio najaribu kuangalia.
Ndio huyu amewekwa picha hapa wa lands.
Yuko hapo. Alice Wahome. Na unajua tuko na mgeni studio friend. Sijui
there's some wildlife in studio today. I don't know what's happening.
All right, that story is on page 2 and 3. Matiang'i takes on Ruto as 2027 rivalry escalates. Another story is on page 6. I don't know, they were saying, unajua hii serikali inatubeba sisi si wajinga, something along those lines yesterday. Commentator urged presidential aspirant to take clear stand on his party choice. And according to Matiang'i, anasema we were accused of many things, including meeting at a hotel to scheme against Dr. Ruto when he was deputy president. And former CS tells Ruto to release reports of investigation into claims that they plotted to kill him before 2022 polls. All right. On the top sweep, Kenya's Golden Stars conquer the Berlin Marathon. This is Sawe and somebody else. What's her name? Yes, we have 2 other golds from Berlin Marathon yesterday. Obado allies lose 500 million shillings properties. Another story is on page 3. And that's the Daily Nation this morning. All
right. From the Daily Nation, we cross over to the Standard. They talk about a costly swindle. Unajua pale wamesema kuna watu wamekuwa swindled out of their land, si ndio? Sasa hapa kuna nyingine. Breach of contract. Kenyan taxpayers now face the risk of a 10 billion shilling penalty after a cancelled dam contract turned sour. British firm GBM Engineering has petitioned authorities saying it was cheated out of a deal to finance and build a Grand Falls Dam on River Tana, a project meant to boost Kenya's power supply. The deal signed under former President Uhuru Kenyatta was scrapped in July by the Ruto administration. Now plans to revive the project with a different contractor are raising fresh trouble. You can read more on that on page 4. But the worrying story is there hapo juu on the front page. Wanasema when citizens borrow to buy food. Yeah? Pain of Rutonomics, they call it. Kenyans now borrow more than 13 billion shillings a month from digital lenders, mostly to put food on the table. It's a stark picture of a nation struggling to survive, with families left juggling empty plates and empty wallets. That story is on page 5 of this paper. We talk about tough times force Kenyans to borrow to eat. And most Kenyans are on the verge of desperation financially. Kenyans are borrowing more than 433 million shillings daily from digital lenders, painting a picture of cash-strapped population that cannot make ends meet. That's a big story there. Kwa Standard. Nyuma, walk like a champion. Kuna picha ya Lilian Odira celebrating winning the women's 800 meters final yesterday. As the World Athletics Championships in Tokyo, Japan came to an end. Meanwhile, Sawe and Wanjiru triumphed in Berlin. That's another story. Tutaipata tu, tutakutana nayo, tukizidi kuangalia magazeti. The Standard.
People Daily, how Ruto has silenced Kenya's loudest critics. Amason Kingi, Fikirini Jacobs, Ali Hassan Joho, Hassan Omar Hassan, Peter Kaluma, Professor Makau Mutua, and I was hoping to see Kasmu Makuri.
Yeah. Hata Raila Odinga si alikuwa one of his biggest critics. Mbona wote wako kwa box yake sasa.
How Ruto has silenced Kenya's loudest critics.
This is actually true. This is true.
Very true.
Hawajaonewa.
Tunashukuru this newspaper. We understand this space might have been too small to include all of them, like in the stories on page 6. On the top strip, ODM struggling to get candidates in Nyamira County ahead of the November 27 by-election. Another story on page 7. People in politics, People Daily.
Right. From the political People Daily, we take a look at the Star. Talks about another problem, something similar to what we've been seeing there. Auctioneers smile to the bank as loans defaulters rise. And you realize, pale kwa standard wanasema watu wanakopa pesa kutoka kwa digital lenders kununua chakula. Sasa hao wenye biashara, sasa number of businesses facing the hammer also increases. Let's read this story on page 4 and 5 of the People Daily.
And the interest rates zinakuanga juu sana.
Wamekataa kupunguza. So, Auctioneers Paradise, na kuna picha pale ya gari moja inachukuliwa na watu wamekuja kuibeba auctioneer sasa. A SACCO official says selling properties such as land and cars is a challenge as buyers are scarce and amid defaulted loans. Auctioneers are the ones celebrating. Pawning or auctioning luxury items was for years the last resort for Kenyans caught in temporary financial distress. Jewelry, electronics and high-end furniture often ended up on the stores of Shylocks and auctioneers, only to be reclaimed when fortunes improved. But today, a new and troubling reality is taking root. A growing number of Kenyans are being forced to auction off their basic household essentials, beds, seats, and even kitchen units in a desperate attempt to make ends meet. Your story, page 4 and 5, nafaa uisome kama Mkenya, uelewe mambo inaenda namna gani. Okay, fine. Wameweka some space to celebrate our athletes. Odira bagging gold in Tokyo. Nako pale na ameka ile kidole moja hapo, watamsema sijui alisema nini. Hapana, yeye alikuwa anasema ni number 1. Lilian Odira winning the 800 meters at the World Athletics Championships. Na hapo kando, Sebastian Sawe wins the BMW Berlin Marathon 2025 and Rosemary Wanjiru triumphs in the same race. Tulichukua both men and women. All right. Another story given prominence on the front page. Hospital fees, fuel counties revenue as SHIF debts pile up. That's the Star. Fresh, independent, different. If you have 60 shillings, you can grab yourself a copy of this paper.
Finally, Business Daily, top banks fail CBK test on large borrowers default risk, and Kenya's 6 largest banks would require at least 190.4 billion shillings in fresh capital if each of their top 3 borrowers were to default on loans, underscoring how exposed they are to corporate customers at a time when defaults are on the rise. Anasema stress test conducted by the CBK in May to gauge the stability of the banking sector revealed that the big banks were the most at risk if top borrowers defaulted, with the 6 largest lenders carrying 86.3% of the total industry exposure. That story is on page 2. So not only digital lending apps that people are defaulting, also banks, people are defaulting over there. 61 banks most at risk from loan concentration. Court battles signal growing pain from corporate loans. Other stories here on the front page of the Business Daily. Lilian Odira breaks 42-year-old record. Gold medalist Lilian Odira is here celebrating winning the women's 800 final at the World Athletics Championships. Again, anasema tu number 1. After 42 years, lazima tu angesema number 1. Microinsurers net 1 billion shillings premium in 6 months. Another story on page 8. On the TICA budget, controller 1, spending bills classified under public debt. And Controller of Budget Margaret Nyakango has stepped up her push to have counties spending bills considered as public debt in a bid to control further growth and hasten settlement. Banks to own 75% of credit guarantee firm and heavy T-bills. Uptake cuts maturity of domestic debt, that is heavy treasury bills. That's the Business Daily this Monday morning. All right.
Now, once again, a reminder of the panelists that we'll have at 6:30 this morning. Kipruto Rapkirwa, Danson Mungatana, and Wakili Ukibe Mungai coming your way in a few minutes. Tuangazie wachoraji wanasema nini leo.